Hi and welcome. In the previous video we looked at how our app is going to look like. In this video I'll show you technologies we're going to use for this project. So let's take a look at the tech stack we'll use. So here, what we'll need is a front-end app to display the bot. We'll be using the React library, so the interface will be made with React. And yes, React is a popular JavaScript library. React returns HTML and CSS, and it generates the user interface, that is web page and a chatbot. So React on the front end. But React needs the information what to show. That's why we need the backend app. So frontend needs to communicate with the backend to get the data to display. Data like items on the page, and for the bot, it needs to get the bot's response and extra data for the response. So the user request will go to the backend app to be processed and then returned to the front end. And backend app will be hosted on Heroku. I chose Heroku because it's easy to use and it has a free tier with no serious limitations. It's perfect for building simple apps or demo apps. Okay? If you prefer any other alternative, you can freely deploy your backend app there. In this course, we're using Heroku. Backend will be built with Node.js, so again JavaScript, but a server-side JavaScript built upon Google's V8 engine. Node is a great language for backend web apps, and I also like the fact that I'm using the same language on both sides. Okay? What we'll also use is Express. Express is a framework that makes building backend apps much easier task. It helps with requests and routing, and in fact, it has become a de facto standard for the majority of Node.js applications out there today. So okay, now we have a backend and a frontend. What about natural language processing? We need something that will translate what the user says to the bot into something our backend app will be able to understand. And we have just the thing for it. Dialogflow is a Google service, an NLP that is natural language processor. What does that mean? You probably heard of NLP and NLU. That sounds similar, but is not the same. Dialogflow is NLU, but it's much more than that. It's also NLP. Yeah, I must sound like crazy now. So let me explain. NLU is a natural language understanding. That means that NLU helps us understand what the user wants, what action does he or she ask for, what are the extra parameters, what is his or her intent. So NLU transforms natural language to something a computer or our app can understand. Okay? So, what is NLP? Well, that is all that and a little more. NLP are all the systems that work together to handle end-to-end interactions between machines and humans in the preferred language of the human. In other words, NLP lets people and machine talk to each other naturally. So, Dialogflow also helps with returning the right response, and it provides integrations to chat platforms. I have a whole section that will show you what Dialogflow can do. Okay? So, now we can parse natural language. Our stack now has Node.js, Express, React, Dialogflow, and Heroku for hosting. What we'll also need is Git. We'll use Git for tracking changes, versioning, and deploying to Heroku. Git is the most popular versioning system now, and I strongly recommend it. Last on our stockpile is MongoDB. We'll use Mongo to store information. MongoDB is a document-oriented database. Instead of storing your data in tables made out of individual rows, like in a relational database, Mongo stores your data in collections made out of individual documents. In MongoDB, a document is just a big JSON blob with no particular format or schema. So, we'll have some information in Mongo to display to the user, and we'll also store in the Mongo the information we gather from the user. Okay? So our stack is now full. What we'll use in this course is Node.js, Express, React, Dialogflow, Heroku, Git, and MongoDB. Now let me show you something. These are the building blocks of our bot. We have a React frontend, the user interface that gets the input from the user and displays the response from the bot. Then we have a backend app that receives requests from frontend, forwards text to Dialogflow, handles the feedback from Dialogflow, performs extra action if the user wanted some kind of action. For example, it can fetch some information from a database or other web services, or it can send emails, or it can calculate something from user's input, or it can authenticate the user and at the end return a response to the user. And Dialogflow parses user requests, that is, parses natural language and returns the response, actions, intents, parameters, and contexts. We'll be talking about all this in the course. Let's first see how these blocks are wired together in the next video. So now you know what the stack of this course is. And yes, you need to be somehow familiar with them. You don't need to be an expert, but some previous experience would be great. I will try to cover as much as I can and explain everything in detail. But if you have no experience, I strongly suggest you take a course about Node.js and React first. So see you in the next video, where we'll take a look at how application works behind the scenes. See you soon. Bye bye.